Well, gwan masses, Dapper here, and welcome back to the One In Podcast. I know it's been a few weeks, but as we say, with the young boss touchdown, it's a little difficult to find a quiet moment to record with all of my other responsibilities. But here we are. We don't forget about you. We have a lot of smaller and bigger issues to review that have passed over the past couple of weeks. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. First and foremost, we're going to start out with Jam Rock, Jamaica. The Adidas kits and apparel have dropped, and I must say they did a tremendous job. That jacket still on my wish list. Didn't buy it yet. I'm in Florida. I don't really need it. I'm also waiting to see if there's anything else that I'm going to sneak through, but I don't think so. I think they've dropped everything already. Going one by one through our main yellow kit. First, it hot. Don't get me wrong, it hot. If you see the stripes them on it and everything. But I prefer the Arsenal one with them drop. It's a little more interesting, and that's the one I own. So personally, I don't think I would be getting the home kit for the Jamaica team. The away kit, even though I like the black, the little off kind of charcoal brownish color that it have, I also prefer the Ajax one from a couple years back, the Bob Marley one that had the green, red, and yellow upon there. So I don't really know about that one again, but just looking at the kit at face value, we have a tremendous set. I think the color scheme, especially on the away one, kind of too close to Mexico, which is why we got that little brownish color. But the jacket, that reversible jacket, that thing is superb. Both sides of it, really well done. Now overall, when you see the full kit, our yellow with the green shorts, that look really good. The full black I don't like as much. It's not as interesting to me, but as I said, really good job, and hopefully over the next couple of years, Jamaica, as we know, should be easily well making the World Cup in 2026 for US, Mexico, Canada. So hopefully by then, they kind of perfect the craft and we get something really shocking for touch ground, right? So speaking of the future and the reggae boys, one Whisper, Dujuan Whisper Richards, he's on trial right now in England. At first, the rumors were between Spurs and Newcastle, but confirmed by him via social media and Kyle Butler, it is Newcastle. Up and up team. Even, a side like that's right now challenging for the Champions League. Even if you don't make it in their academy, dropping down from there because of his age and talent level, he can still look at a Prem or Championship level team where he can get the opportunity to play and grow. So very excited for that and what he has going on. He seems to be a serious youth. Hopefully with the guidance of Leon, Sterling, and some of the Jamaican internationals them that are in the Britain and surrounding, he can make the most of his opportunity. He said in a film interview, y'all not see me again. So hopefully that comes to pass, and the man big up himself, and we can get another Jamaican in the league. Right now we have Antonio, not going too hot but hard working. Bailey, which is stop-start because of them have the new manager. Bobby, I get game and I go out with Jiggy Yusuf. So, Whisper coming up through the academy. And then we have the youth from Chelsea. I can't remember his name right now, but just overall, just more Jamaicans in the league is just a great thing to see, and just shows the path that coming out of schoolboy football, that there is a future. If you just your talent not for level off and you end up as a play JPL, the rest of Premier League, and not really going away. You're just too distracted. You end up do what you're not supposed to do. So all the best to Whisper Richards and his growth. But transition right there into a possible Jamaican international in Mason Greenwood. Now, I have to preface the entire discussion I'm going to have about Greenwood. with the fact that me not support anything that him do. The voice note of him threatening that girl, and what the photo showed to him abusing her for not getting what he wanted, disgusting. But I can't even say the investigation, but the charges were dropped. So now he wasn't proven guilty, so I'll talk about his future as a footballer. Truthfully, for England, it done. There's so much that he would need to do to get over and win back English supporters. And we see how harsh they are with black players already. Like, it's already, like, the whole fact is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl when do and got accused of all of these things for, right? But you have players like Rashford, MBE Rashford, Sancho, Saka, where the amount of racial abuse that they dealt with just for missing a penalty, we're not even that's small and minor compared to what Mason was accused of. So in order for him to represent England again, boy, as me did say, and again, just go down this journey with me. So he would have probably he would have to marry the girl. 2, he would have to use probably like a mental awareness, the pressures of playing for a top club and frustration, blah, 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 blah. He'd have to go that angle and, go get help and a bit advocate for therapy. And then you'd have to probably start a foundation for abusers, probably lean into forgiveness, that the fact that he was young, get involved with Rashford and his charities. Like, there was so much he had, and even then, it wouldn't be enough. But if he does, a couple of those things, I wouldn't mind seeing him, maybe taking up some of his heritage and come play some ball for Jamaica. It sounds bad, yes, but truthfully, we can't speak for the island. But there's a part of me like, you think me business of Jamaica they are World Cup and him bust up the net? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care during that time. Now, it wouldn't be somebody that I would have par with it, and it's similar to like Chris Brown. Like, Chris Brown thing happened how many years ago, and nowadays, I have no problem listening to his music and enjoying what he does. But a Queen Rihanna, you put your hands on. Still, I don't know what the situations were around it. But support the youth now. It's been more than enough time. Greenwood think kind of fresh, but I'm saying years down the line, if he is in the black, green, and gold, and between him, Bailey, Whisper across the front line or whatever, and we there a World Cup, a dance up and a nice up the thing. Hey man, the road to forgiveness is there. But on the English front, I think it's done. And it's the same thing for Man U. Like, we're too high profile of a club to have somebody with his, resume in our colours, especially right now with where Ten Hag try build. It just wouldn't work. Like, level of distraction. Like, think of the season that we had so far. Like, we start out Ronaldo business, then bringing back Ronaldo, then him left, then Maguire business, then the World Cup. It's just a lot. So he can't really represent Man U anymore. Is if a fact where we might have a PM off or something like that, or him go on a Qatar or one of them countries go play maybe. But him can't play for Man U, and I don't think because of how England set up that he can play at a high level, meaning Championship or Premier League. Like, it's just too much. Cause them we sing song about your mother. So you imagine somebody that got accused of what he got accused of. So I just think him need for, maybe cycle back in another country and try to represent another country. Jamaica, we will take you. We can forgive it because we weren't involved. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but we shall see. Definitely something I would like to see though, because he was 20 when the whole thing happened. So I don't think his whole career should just be dashed just because of that. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts on Mason Greenwood, maybe representing Jamaica, and would you be open to it? If so, what would you need to do? You know what I mean? Moving on from there, speaking of charges, we're going to get straight into some of these sanctions that are being put out right now. First and foremost, with Juve, their inflated transfer funds, and here what? Juve are not really my team still. There's a lot of ballers who play for them that I have a lot of respect for. Del Piero, Trezeguet, Zidane, they play for them at one point. Zlatan, of course. Thuram. You know what I mean? Like, they had a good team, Boofy. But this is the second time they're involved in some bandula things. So I don't think the charge matches the offense and the fact that they're repeat offenders. 15 points. At most, Juve has a squad where they might miss the Champions League, but they're good enough to still make it. Like, this needs to hurt them more than that. Like, Juve should be in a position where I'm not going to say getting relegated, but it should have at least be like a 25 point. And you know what? I have to check into that. Maybe it is a European ban as well, but they need to be out of all competitions over the next year. They can't be in the Conference League or Europa League or anything like that for the next year or two. Like, they have to really be punished. Relegation, as I said, no. But whatever place they end up, they have 15 points. Let's say they give them the 15 points, and whatever place they end up, you still can't be in any European competition for the next year. So then that's really hitting you in your pockets. So now, a team that gets 5th place or 6th place or win whatever, they're able to move into the Champions League. Juve don't deserve it with all these sanctions. Oh yeah, inflate fees. But at the same time, we should have known. From we saw that Pjanic Arthur deal, where them and Barcelona are going with that foolishness, we should have known, say, something for gwan. That look crazy. Like, they're doing a swap deal, but dictated what the prices were for each baller and just said it was 70 million a piece. That don't make no sense. Based on what? Pjanic played a half a season for Barcelona, and Arthur didn't play at all for them, but it was a thing to balance their books, and they worked that out together, which is, as you can see now, with them still pushing for the Super League and stuff like that. They're in cahoots. They might share a bank or a lawyer or something like that, but I don't think 15 points is enough. As I said, if you can implement the European ban as well, then maybe with that loss of revenue, then, it can hit them the right way, because it's going to have to hit them in the pockets for it to really make sense. On the flip side, we spoke again on Barcelona, and don't get me wrong, I understand it with them. They don't have any sanctions at the moment, and I understand that La Liga has to protect probably their second biggest team and one of their biggest representatives on the European stage. But the way how them make them money jump through loopholes, like, they're saying, yo, Barcelona owed XYZ 1, 2, 3, and they need to balance their books. Then everybody watched the loan bandulu signing things, sell off, all these, what they call it, levers, whatever, last summer, and then only for them, the president Laporte to come out and say, yo, we need to alleviate another 100 million again this summer. But La Liga is saying, oh, we won't allow this, that, and the third. But, brother, like, clearly, you have some biases there. It don't really look good. It don't look good for what they're trying to do. But to me, for them, it looks like they're going to punish themselves, because they're giving up long-term potential for short-term maintaining a status. We all know that they could have kept some of these levers intact and maybe be more financially sound in 2-3 years but have a younger team that, maybe had to come through Europa League or something like that. But and that them want to do. So we'll see how it work out. They still look on the way to winning the La Liga this year. That. So we shall see. Maybe La Liga money, Champions League money, they get back where they need to get back to. But leave that alone and my business. The next club that actually got sanctioned is Man City, saying the investigation, I think it was 2013 or something like that, till 2018. However many hundreds of sanctions for loan dealings, transfers, and blah, 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 blah. My thing is, why it takes a lot? Like, why did it take so many years for your investigation? Like, nobody never did do nothing during COVID. You could have sit down and go through the numbers and figure out, I mean, a joke about that. People were, worried about their lives. But, but yeah, man, like, it took 5 years for them to bring out their findings for a 6-7 year period. So what happened in the last 5 years? You know what I'm saying? How the books looking? Like, they were saying that their books were being balanced when they're, 1/10 or 1/100th of the size of some of the clubs they were competing with on a revenue level. Didn't even make any sense. We all knew it was funky, but that's what happens when your owner owns the team that's also your biggest sponsor. So at that point in time, you can move numbers any which way you want. And that's kind of what happened with them and their transfers and their books. But at the same time, this happened a couple of years ago, and I remember Mourinho said, either you find them guilty and give them the full charge, or they're innocent and they go free. But what did the UEFA bodies did? They went down the middle. They said they're not guilty, but gave them a monetary charge, which didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense to Mourinho at the time. Don't make any sense to know what they're trying to do. The only difference is Man City can't appeal within the Premier League because it's a different governing body within the FA. So we shall see. Does that mean that Man City is going to get relegated? No. They have established themselves as one of the biggest teams in the Premier League, and that will remain so. Is a point deduction fair considering the amount of charges? I think it was $250 them said. I don't think so. Neither is a monetary fine either, because that's a drop in the bucket. Again, for them, I think it would have to be something drastic. Like, it'd have to be like, you get a 2-year ban from European competition. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, we don't want your money, but we as the FA are going to block you from getting the benefits of what your past behaviors allowed. Because their past behaviors with the money is what allowed them now to attract a Haaland, to retain a Pep Guardiola as the highest paid coach in the world. Like, the history that they did, man, that's like every big company works still. History always muddy, and then come forward now, it's squeaky clean and things different and da. But there's a benefit of what was terrible in the past, and that's what's going on now with Man City. As I said, for them, European football is, everybody know European football is the pinnacle, right? So if you can say to Man City, all right, this is what we're going to do. You're getting a 2-year ban from European competitions. We're not taking away your trophies. That don't make no sense. We can't retroactively make some of these teams Prem winners, even though that's when they were affected. We don't say, you have a 2-year ban. You can't play even Conference League, nothing. And then on top of that, I'd give them point reductions as well. For the amount of charges, they need to get multiple point deduction of 20 and 15 points. Then transfer window blocks for 2-3 windows, and a European ban for 2 years. That's what needs to happen to really you have to make it so that no one wants to do this again in terms of, cooking the books and doing that kind of thing, because, ownerships are going to change. Right now, mind you, looking to possibly get the Glazers out and bring other people in. There's a worry there. Newcastle are being a little bit more careful, but there's always the worry. Well, Man City did it, and they have the titles to retain. But if we can punish them now going forward, it won't be appealing. You got to know to balance your books, and that will make sense. So that's my thoughts on the sanctions and all of that. The team that should actually be worried right now is Chelsea, but not really, because Todd Bowley found a loophole, which is the length of the contracts. American sport contract lengths, specifically baseball. I think he's the owner of the Dodgers. You're signing players for, 10 years, 15 years, whole bag of money. So, well, and again, that's it. He was signing them to those contracts, which wasn't illegal, but he was also stretching the payments out, which, well, wasn't illegal, but that was a loophole he found. And now they're limited the payment lengths to 5 years, but the contract lengths can be whatever they want to be. Overall, when you look at how the money was spent and the refresh of the team that was done, none of it is actually illegal, because if you're stretching 100 million over 8 years, or we can use it even, let's use 5 years, that's 20 million a year. So you only spent 20 mil this window instead of the 300 and whatever if you add up everything. So it's smart, but they must watch themselves. I think because they found that loophole and embarrassed UEFA and the FA, now it's extra magnifying glasses are going to be on them again because of City and Juve. So, like, what they're going to do, or what they are going to try to do this summer in terms of who they're going to bring in, they have to watch themselves with that, because they're not going to make Champions League. I don't think so anyway. Knock on wood that it don't happen, but I don't think they're making Champions League. They might not even make Conference League. So a lot of the balancing is because of the money that you bring in. So if you're not playing at the highest level, you can't really bring in a certain amount. You can't really spend a certain amount of money. Luckily for them still have Lukaku out there. Can bring him back. Your wage bill is going to be crazy, but there's a few players that they can let go as well. So them have to watch themselves. In terms of buying over the next 2 transfer windows, I can't see them bringing more than 2-3 players, but they'd have to do a lot of selling, and hopefully the other teams that are buying shortchange them. Because what are you going to do? Either you sell us for what we're offering, or you keep them. You keep a Hudson-Odoi. You know what I mean? You keep a Loftus-Cheek. You know what I mean? And you keep on Aubameyang, and you make them rot. Or you let them go for cheap. I mean, that's a problem with Man U. Nobody don't want to buy no players from Man U. I mean, we keep them a little bit past the expiration date too, but nobody don't want to buy no players from Man U. We always get shortchanged. We can't make any net profit on them, so leave that alone. Moving on from there, and probably the last topic, I won't go too crazy on the next one back, is the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl just ended. Monumental moment, even though it was a game that, truthfully, I didn't care too much about, because I was afraid the Eagles was going to win. Say, as a Cowboys fan, I hate everything Eagles related. But Mahomeboy came through and solidified his legacy. Let me speak on that before I get into my real topic. He is moving up a list of best quarterbacks I've seen since I've been watching the game. So let's say 90, not even say that. Let me say from I moved to America. So let's say 03, 04. He's moving up that list very fast. So now with 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, to me, all the quarterbacks that have 1 ring, goodbye. Like you're no longer in this conversation, Mr. Drew Brees. You know how I feel about Drew Brees. You gotta go about your business. Like, they not you know. Aaron Rodgers, move about your business. You know what I mean? It must spoil like milk right now too. So yeah, move. Now we go into the 2 quarterback range. You have Eli. That's not a conversation. You got Ben. That's not a conversation. But then we're looking at Peyton. Right now, as of today, overall, in terms of what he did in the regular season, Peyton was a surgeon. But we saw maybe equal or higher level play with Rodgers. It sounds bad, but it made it less special because someone came along right after and did it possibly even better. You know, we're getting 3 interception years from Aaron Rodgers. And then during Peyton era, you had Tom as well, which was doing it equally, if not sometimes better than him. So right now, today, Mahomeboy and Peyton, they're even on the resume. That's today. That's if Mahomeboy retires right now. That's in my eyes. I don't know how y'all want to feel. That's fine. But today, Mahomeboy and Peyton are even on resume. The only body of my generation of watching football that's above him is Tom. And Tom is untouchable. He's the GOAT of GOATs. So I have Mahomeboy it's tied for second. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about that again in the comment section below, but that's how I feel as of today. Like, all them regular season MVPs, that's great. You know what I mean? You need that on your resume. But them Super Bowls and their postseason play, I think means a lot more, especially in the NFL, especially coming from, you know, I'm speaking as a Cowboys fan. That's all we do is regular season games. We don't win nothing in the playoffs. So when you see a team consistently going to the championship game and making Super Bowls, and a player within his first 5-6 years winning 2, it's amazing. Now to go back to my real topic again, Black History Month, we had 2 black quarterbacks, phenomenal. You know, we had it's the first time. I know they light skinned mulattoes or whatever, but we had 2 black quarterbacks in there. It's monumental achievement for Black History Month. We had the Queen come out and announce baby number 2. I know some of my boys is not too happy about that, but you know, the Queen of the Caribbean can do what she wants. She want to have a kid back to back, let her do it. You know what I mean? She's trying to skip out and being geriatric and getting them out of there. But on to continue my point, that was the first time we had 2 black quarterbacks face off. Mahomes is also second or third black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. We've only had 1 black coach win a Super Bowl in Tony Dungy. We had in Eric Beniemy we had what looked on paper to be probably the premier offensive coordinator in the league. But for the past 3-4 years, even though the Chiefs were doing phenomenally, he couldn't get a head coaching job. It's a broader issue, I feel like, with black coaches in the NFL. Now, the discussion I want to have on this topic is probably broader. Something probably might have to need Hedge for really talk upon, because he's a little more invested in the NFL than I am. But speaking on specifically Bellamy, he took what everybody sees as a lateral move, right? Even someone says a less than move. He's taking less pay to go to the Commanders to play the same position on a struggling team. It looks less than when you look overall, but per the articles and everything that we hear, it's for his responsibilities. Andy Reid is an offensive coach, so being an offensive coordinator under Andy Reid, you don't have many responsibilities and you're not making the calls. So even though the Chiefs had this success instead of getting 100% or 80% of the kudos and the praise for Mahomes' record-setting offense, and for the fact that you won two Super Bowls, you're looked at as like a stand-in. It's the same thing that, for a while, that Bill Belichick had with his defensive coordinators in New England. The worrying thing that I look at for Bellamy was everybody says he interviews like terribly. Reminds me of Theodore Whitmore, the former Jamaica coach and Jamaica reggae boy is great. I must have saw him go into his interviews. He must be going in there and talk just pure BS. Maybe as a stutter or something like that. He can't get his points across. But either way, if you look at the numbers, as I said, Dungy was 1. And there's never been a black coach that's won college football, the national championship. The NFL is not our league. Like, there's a lot of black talent that plays in it, but I don't feel we league that. The NBA is more us. That's for them league, man. Like, there's so many issues with the black coach experience and all of these former players that can't get opportunities to be coordinators, and move into coaching positions, and it seems like they have a quota every year as how many black coaches they can have in the league and how many can be owners and GMs and stuff like that. It just doesn't happen. I don't feel we league. So as much as everybody wanted to judge Bellamy for his move, I take it as a step that he's going to get more responsibility so that he can grow. I wish him the best for it. But I'm jaded in the fact that there's only so far you can go. Like, how much perfection will it take for the next black quarterback, black coach for make it to that high level? Like, even from the black fans themselves, because look how them do Dion. And Dion made sacrifices that other players weren't willing to make. And again, it goes on a whole mentality level, and it's a lot deeper than, as I said, I can get into at this time. But I'm not bad at the Bellamy move. Hopefully he can do something for Washington. Don't ask me who their quarterback is. I know they had a decent defense, and you come into the best division in football, so good luck, my guy. But I'm not mad at the move. Again, this is something else that you can definitely drop in the comment section and get a little bit more nuance if you're more of an NFL fan than myself. Honestly, if it's not Cowboys related, I don't care that much, and I barely care for the Cowboys. But I think it is a nuanced discussion because we're in America. This is America's game, and we want equal opportunities and equal successes for everyone that's within their field. I always want to see a brother succeed. Pause. Why? You know what we mean, though. Thank you again for all the support. Please share the thing. I put in the effort. I do my research. I'm putting together these thoughts, try to make it coherent for you. Share the thing. WhatsApp, IG, Facebook, message somebody, tag them. Interact with the thing, like the videos, like the podcast. Drop it in the comment section. I love to hear topic suggestions as well. I love to do follow-ups on some of these topics that we discuss, because sometimes it's just me putting my opinion out into the world, and I don't have all the answers. Let me know if I'm wrong. Drop it in there. I'll follow up and discuss it if it's worth my time. If not, we can get in the comment section and discuss it there. But again, thank you for all your support. It's been One Name Sports. Peace.